Hi, and welcome back to this web development series. Today we will just be discussing the basic structure of an HTML page, which you'll pretty much use every single time you decide to create a new HTML or web document. This is the basic skeleton that you will use. Well, depends on who you talk to, they probably won't include the title, but I like to since it is a thing that you will use pretty much every single time. But things like the HTML header and body tags do not actually affect the layout of the page. They just provide information to the web browser about how it should present your page or interpret it. The HTML tags act as containers for all the other tags that you'll be using, like the header tags, body tags, title tags, anything that you'll really be using. The header tags, like we have discussed, will contain information pertaining to the page, but not affect information that will be displayed on it. So, for example, the title, which will be the title displayed in the web browser itself, but not on the page. Things like linked CSS and JavaScript documents will also be referenced here. And then we move on to the body tag, which is where the bulk of the information that will actually be displayed on the page gets stored. So things like paragraphs and their headers will be declared inside of these body tags. One important thing to remember though is never overlap your title. So never do anything like header tag, a body tag, and then a closing head tag. That will probably just confuse the browser, or I'm not sure about what it would do in this case, but the body tag there is just inappropriate. So always close the tag that you were working on last, except for these HTML tags, since again they act as containers for everything in between them. The title, again, should be something short and sweet to give a description about what the page is about, so that whoever is trying to find your page through a browser, since web or search engines love to use the title to index the page, if it is something descriptive and short, it'll increase the odds of certain key phrases finding your web page. The next thing we'll be covering will just be simple headers within the body tag. And if we open this document that I created before I started recording, you will see these 6 header tags. They are just declared with the H and a number. So what are these numbers and what do they do? You might be wondering. But if we open the document, we will see that it just shows different headers in different sizes. So as the number goes up, you can see the size of the header goes down. So you can use these as a heading and then its subheadings for whatever the page is about when it's appropriate. You can use as many of these as you want to. So you can use as many H2, for example, as you want to, or H3, or even mix them. So you can have an H2 tag, an H3 tag, and then an H2 tag after that. It just affects the size of the word that it's encapsulating. What was I going to say next? Don't use these to boldface though, since you can see when you use them, it sees them as a heading and will put something next to it on a different line, or it should. Like I said, different web browsers can react differently. All right. Lastly, we will just cover the paragraph tag that we will always be using. Let me just close that one since it might start looking confusing. Like we've already covered, the paragraph tag is where just the bulk of info goes. Oops. So don't worry too much about this. This is an interesting thing. You can, or I think I've mentioned before that tags are not case sensitive. So you can mix these. It won't be an issue. Um, so, but yeah, that's where the bulk of your information goes. You can't style this. For example, if I had to add a return carriage there and put it on a different line, it won't show up like that in the actual web browser. It'll ignore all that blank space. So if you want to do any kind of styling like that, there are ways that you can do it with HTML. But in general, we will just be using CSS for the styling of a page. And the last thing we will cover before you can play with everything that you've seen in this video by making your own document and just having fun with everything, since that will be the best way to learn it, is a comment. And that's how you make a comment. You have a less than sign, an exclamation mark, 2 dashes, whatever the comment will be, another 2 dashes, and a greater than sign. So these comments will not appear in the actual web browser. So if we open this document, you will also see that the return carriage or the blank space is ignored, as you can see here, and the comment is not displayed. So what can you use a comment for? You can use it to track the progress of a page, or comment how you want CSS documents to look like, or what kind of JavaScript you might want here, or just any kind of information relevant to yourself so that you will remember what the page is about if you for some reason can't work on it for a few weeks. But that's everything for now. I hope you'll have fun with this, play around with this. Hope you've been thinking about the kind of document that you would want to make as we progress through this series. And I'd like to thank you for viewing, and I'll see you in the next video.